you are not just smiting these things of your own will and saying God told you to. I mean, could you convince a listener, say, who think you may be a rogue smiter?
That's a good question, Daniel. I'm glad you asked that. And it's not up to me to really convince a person whether God told me something or not. I mean, like for instance, I called in and left you a message a few days ago, 2 days ago to be exact, and I said basically that I saw two large tornadoes coming out of the south, and I believe it was coming out of Oklahoma again. Well, I mean, I was just told this morning that there was a tornado in out of Oklahoma. It went all the way up into different places, I think, like Colorado, Kansas, places like that. And I'm sure the listeners know what I'm talking about here. Mm-hmm. But it's right here in the news blip today that I saw off the web that May 24th saying a tornado come up out of Oklahoma, went into Kansas, went through Colorado, I guess different places, and caused major havoc. The reason I bring that up to you, Daniel, is because these couple talk show hosts and this particular lady can talk against people that are speaking the truth. It's not that I have to prove anything, but yourself, as I talked on this show, and I've talked to many listeners, even a couple weeks before the Chinese earthquake, I prophesied that the Lord told me it was going to happen, and it happened, and I talked about it in my letters last year and prophesied it would happen in 2008, and that happened. The thing is that there's been hundreds of prophecies the Lord's given me that's happened, and factually, okay, but these listeners, these talk show people did not want to focus in on anything that, what they were saying is like, well, he said, in 6 months the whole earth's going to cook, or some kind of baloney, whatever they said on there. It's like, I never said that at all. And I like to get any one of the radio clips that I've been on, or any one of my letters on the website that says that, and I'll give them a couple $10 million, but it doesn't say that anywhere. And the key is this. As they focused in on, well, he said after such and such was going to happen this. Well, let's take the guy out and toast him and burn him or something like this. You know what? God bless you, because those are the very things that they did to the prophets of old when they went out and stoned them and beat them. And they crucified him in a sense, and they burned them. And just like Jesus when they told me he was of the devil, And, he's right there in the midst of the monks of them. Instead of them focusing in on things that are going on with counterfeits, and then, of course, they talked a little bit about the counterfeits, but instead of them focusing in on that, because one man goes out and takes his staff and he's going to strike the ocean to call in the judgments in America, and it's very biblically sound about judgments, about prophets over nations, and I don't call myself a prophet for a matter of record, and you know that, because I don't believe in titles.
Right.
But, everything from the time of 1979 of Ronald Reagan, when I had said in 1979 I proclaimed, the very first two things I ever proclaimed in my heart, in my life, and I wasn't calling myself anything, and I still know I'm a piece of dust. Okay? I'm nobody. I'm just a voice crying out in the wilderness, but it says, I said Ronald Reagan would become president, change defense history, and Anwar Sadat would be assassinated in the Middle East. Well, all that happened, and every single thing that's ever been spoken has happened. Now, can I miss God? Yes. David Wilkerson, they mentioned David Wilkerson on the air. David Wilkerson's a friend of mine. David Wilkerson wrote a thing in 1999, a book about the Great Depression in 99, and he missed it. Is he a prophet of God? Yes. But he missed a major prophecy, and I love the man dearly. Is he a prophet? I believe he's a prophet of God. Can we all miss it? Absolutely. We're all weak and human. And these people that try to throw themselves out on the line like that, what needs to happen is they need to really get back into the Word of God. They can spiritualize all themselves all they want on the air.
Okay, let me.
They obviously don't know their Bible.
Matthew, let me ask you. It was in the live chat here. I think Maximum put this up, saying that that particular tornado may have been a mile wide with golf or with a softball size hail. Is that what you're getting?
I don't know how big the whole thing was because I didn't read the report. I just saw it this morning, and then someone called me up and said that they heard me, say that there would be two tornadoes that I'm seeing coming, and one of them just happened, and that was the one that just happened apparently. And so I know there's going to be more hail and a lot of stuff going with it. I didn't read the characteristics of this tornado. I know it was devastating. I see another one down in the south coming up out of the. When I saw these the visions of the two tornadoes, is that I just saw these things that were over several states.
Really?
And I saw they were huge, and and I saw like that one coming out of Oklahoma. And then the last time we were on the show, if you remember correctly, I think May 10th, as I was speaking about,
Right.
I saw the tornado coming out of Oklahoma again. That was that first time, and within a couple hours, that tornado happened.
Yeah.
And as I got off the show the next
Yeah.
morning, of course, my phones were ringing off the hook and emails were piling up about that
Right.
prophecy happening right
Yeah,
then and
you know,
there.
and Matthew, by the way, I went to look that up too because I had a numbers of emails coming into my inbox talking about your prophecy of that particular tornado, or that was an earthquake. Was it earthquake or tornado?
Well, that one was the tornado, but the earthquake
That was a tornado, but I had to calculate that based on you're on the West Coast, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I had to calculate that, the 3-hour difference, and it turned out that you were pretty accurate, and the timing did allow for the fact that you were 3 hours ahead when you said that. So it coincided with the time because I went to the news articles to try to find out when that tornado struck, and so you were pretty close on that. Matthew, before we let you go, anything you'd like to sum this report up with then?
Well, I don't want to get on that subject too much, but I will say this real quick. You remember the last time I was talking about the aircraft carriers?
Yeah.
And I mentioned about the fires taking place. I don't know if it was that one or the other one, but I mentioned that the fires would start happening again. Well, we noticed that Santa Cruz fires, as of today, I saw hit back in California again. And of course, you have the Florida fires, and the characteristic of this thing's coming from the west to the east and the east back to the west. Well, this particular aircraft carrier came out of the Atlantic Fleet out of Virginia, and it was in the Pacific Ocean heading to Japan. It's called the USS George Washington, and it had caught on fire in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And the Lord was speaking to me about the symbolization of this aircraft carrier, which is the fourth one in its class, in reference to the carrier Nimitz, and which I mentioned the Nimitz, the Independence, and the Enterprise.
Yeah, you did.
And this one Washington, representing Washington D.C., about the fires and the explosions taking place that's going to happen soon.
Yeah.
I believe with this 9/11 event. But there's a lot to this prophetically, and about the wealth in America. We talked about the enterprise of America. It's muscle. And
Matthew. By the way, I want to get this out. We were talking earlier that we may end up doing some sort of simulcast with some sort of meeting or so that you're going to be involved with. What day is that?
It will be on May 31st, and the website for the live stream will be newwineministry.net, and that will be in California. This conference is going to be on May 31st in California near Santa Ana. Yeah. And it will be from 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock that evening, and we're going to be broadcasting live stream worldwide. And Daniel, I think Austin, from a guy named Austin from Texas, his name is Austin, not Austin, Texas, who's contacting you on that if he hadn't already, to set everything up to see whatever time you'll give to that broadcast for that conference, which will be great for the listeners.
Excellent. All right. Well, and as soon as we get that information, we'll get it up on the Edge's website. Matthew Stevens, thanks so much for calling in with this update.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate being on the Edge, and God bless you and Jamie, and have a good day. Thank you.
You bet. All right, everybody. That was an update from Matthew Stevens, and be looking for that worldwide simulcast that we're getting ready to hook up with there on his numbers of speakers going to be with that, and hopefully we'll have that wired up for you on the Edge. We have a lot of different changes coming to the Edge, all upgrades, all better, more. Is that better, more? I'm looking for words here. Stupendous, crazy great numbers, big number, good numbers. Number 42, 15, number 15. Do we have a 15? Do we have a 16? I don't know. I'm just checking. All right. Hey, we're going to be right back after the break. Remember, we have a special, interview with Fred coming up right after the break. So you stay tuned. It won't be immediately. I'll have something to say before we bring that, but we do have that. So stay tuned. My name is Daniel Ott. This is the Edge television broadcast. If you missed any of this exciting broadcast, go to the EdgeAM.com tomorrow where it will be posted for free. We're going to be right back. Number 2, number 1, number 3, number 9, number 9, number 9. Number 8, number 6, number 2, number 1, Number 3. This is what I do when I think I'm off camera, but I'm still on camera.